Hello and welcome to Thrive After 45, the podcast where we redefine what is possible in midlife. I'm Denise Drinkwalter, your midlife renewal coach, here to help you embrace your power, purpose, and potential. This is your space to let go of guilt, navigate transitions, rediscover joy, and thrive for you, by you, because of you. It is such an honor and a privilege to welcome back to our show and reintroduce Mary Ann Hughes today to Thrive After 45. Mary Ann's journey into this field was deeply personal. After 21 years of marriage, she navigated her own divorce, including the unique challenges of parenting children with special needs. That experience inspired her to dedicate her career to helping others facing similar circumstances. As a certified special needs divorce coach, as well as a trained family mediator and parenting coordinator, Mary Ann brings a rare combination of personal insight and professional expertise. Over the past 4 years, she has directly impacted more than 100 families and has reached thousands more through her podcasts and social media platforms. Mary Ann helps parents of children with disabilities navigate the complexities and overwhelm of special needs divorce, empowering them to confidently advocate for themselves and their children. Her work is about more than guidance. It's about giving families the clarity, confidence, and tools they need to move forward with strength and peace of mind. Mary Ann, welcome to our show today.
Thank you so much, Denise. Pleasure to be here again. And thank you for that wonderful introduction. I think I'm going to take some of that wording and use it in my materials. Wonderful.
It is my pleasure to share that with you. Absolutely. Can you take us through a little bit of how you got to the incredible gifts that you are sharing now with your coaching and support of families and mediation and everything that you're building? How did that come to be? I mean, we heard about it, but can you give us a bit more robust beginnings so we understand?
Sure, happy to. So, as you mentioned, I'm the mom of two now young adult children on the autism spectrum. And so, when I faced divorce, it wasn't something that I saw coming, and I had to figure out what to do. And I made my main focus in that to take care of my children, to figure out what they would need as they were becoming adults and for the future. And so, I didn't rush the process. I took my time, and there were a lot of circumstances. It was COVID, but I ended up spending so much time, money, and energy on the process. I thought this is kind of crazy for me to have gone through all this trouble. Other families are probably going through similar challenges and circumstances, that I want to take my knowledge and help others who are going to go through this, because they shouldn't have to recreate the wheel every time this happens. And divorce among families that have a child with some complex or special needs is very high. And so that's what led me to my journey to become a divorce coach. And since we last spoke, I was a certified divorce coach before, but I helped inspire and actually helped create, and now am certified as a certified special needs divorce coach. So I actually helped teach that program in the certified divorce coach program. And also, like you mentioned, I have some other things that I did to not just help one parent. As a divorce coach, you're mainly working with one individual. Usually it's the mom that reaches out to me, but I've worked with dads also.
Yep.
But I want to take a more kind of broader approach, a more holistic one, to work with both parents if they so choose. And so that's when I went through some mediation training and actually teach about autism and special needs in that group, and also a parenting coordinator. So that way I can help whatever point in the process they might be, whether they're thinking about divorce or going through divorce or even afterwards, to kind of help them do what's right and best for that children and try to keep the conflict low.
That's incredible. Have you found that you have had, with now such a wealth and breadth of knowledge. Have you found that you are seeing more couples coming to you than you did before? Or is it just beginning that way, or what's happening there?
It's just beginning. I've had some
Yeah.
conversations with some couples, and um, usually one will reach out to me and we'll discuss that as maybe an option. And so that's worked out where I've helped one couple talk about what was best for their relationship. And they
Mm,
decided jointly then that divorce was the best option. And then from there, we talked about a few sessions about how to break the news to the kids, how to support them in the process. And then from there, they went on to work with the lawyers to go through the process. I worked with another couple who was also thinking about divorce. They hadn't gone through the process yet, but they were trying to plan ahead. What would they need to plan for their adult son, who was going to be transitioning out of high school soon? So even
mm,
though they had met with other professionals and been in different presentations, mine was very valuable to them. They really enjoyed my way of coming
right,
at it. It was really, I base it always on what the family needs and the couple or person might need, but it was a different
right.
perspective from someone who had been through it, some real practical advice as well as some strategic advice of things to think about and resources that they could connect to as well. So yeah, so happy to do that. But most of my business still is with the moms reaching out to me to support them. Some of them are stay-at-home moms, which I was at the time, and some
Sure.
of them are working moms and for how to balance everything. So it can be challenging, and there's a lot of overwhelm and burnout with in this process and being a special needs mom in general.
Well, isn't it true? Like as you're speaking, my mind is just whirling with all of the complexities that we talked about briefly in the intro, but the complexities not only of all the emotion that's charged up behind this idea of divorce, no divorce, what do we do? Figuring out that piece as an individual, then as the couple, then add the special needs component to it. And how do we support everybody in this process so that everybody gets what they need to the best of their ability and everybody thrives in the end to be able to be successful because you're living proof that that can happen.
Right, right. That is the goal, to try to do it in a way that you're looking at the big picture as opposed to fighting over things that maybe are ego driven or financially driven and people thinking that has to be a win-lose. We're really we want to come at it as a win-win. How can we all benefit, especially the children? That's really the most important part. And I think the parents would agree as well. But sometimes there's disagreement as to what the child's needs are and how to address that and what that's going to look like.
Right. So is that part of your coaching where you help people understand the child, their needs, what is the best way to be able to put this together in a way that supports your children? Is that the priority?
Yes, for sure, for sure. So some people are already in the process, and then they have other conflicts and
Sure.
issues that they're dealing with that are presented to them. But if they're starting out from the beginning, that's the best time to start thinking about that and lay
Mm,
the groundwork so that it is as amicable a process as it can be and doesn't develop into a more high conflict, which then takes on a life of its own.
right, right. So when you work with the families that you work with, do you connect with them at different stages? I kind of heard you say there were some people who were looking into, is this the best thing for us to do? Is divorce? Is that the way to go based on our situation? Or do you like tell me where you get your clients through? Which stage are they in? Or is there a
Yes.
mix?
Yeah, there's a mix for sure. So a lot of times people don't even know about divorce coaches, much less about special needs divorce coaches. And so by the time they find me or learn about me through podcasts as yours and try to information I try to put out there, like, oh, I need this, or if they're afterwards, like, oh, I wish I knew this when I was going through divorce.
Hmm,
And so I can help people either before divorce, during the process, and even afterwards as well to maybe work on their communication, the relationship with the ex partner and with their kids, and how to kind of smooth things out as much as possible. Because I think I mean, there are people who are specialized in high conflict, and I can work with some of those people too. But really, my goal is to try to um, kind of really identify the issues that are maybe causing the conflict and
Mm,
try to address that.
love that. Love that. Love that. And so when you do that work, do you, do you find that people get aha moments where they didn't realize what some of the driving forces were?
They do because they're looking at it as I did during my divorce at the
Of
beginning,
course.
in terms of how is this going to impact me. But we're not thinking about why is the other person taking this position? What can we do to maybe address their concerns so that our concerns are also met? And that's where my mediation training kind of comes in and helps.
Yeah, perfect. So tell me this. Why would someone want to work with a divorce coach rather than just working with a lawyer? Like at the end of the day, the lawyer is the one who gets all of the ducks in a row, and this is what's happening, and and there's the dotted line sign. Why would somebody want to work or see a benefit of working with a divorce coach like yourself?
Right, that's a great question because uh, divorces can be so expensive and so time consuming. Like, well, do I really have the bandwidth or time or money to work with somebody else?
Mm,
And so, what I learned the hard way, and I try
mm,
to help people not go down this path, is that if you go into a lawyer's office prepared and focused and just work and discuss the legal matters that they're there to help you with, then you can come out of this process with less stress, less time, and less money that you've got to pay and continue paying, if it, especially if it does become a high conflict. So I, for instance, excuse me, I spent so much of my time maybe with one of my lawyers initially about maybe some of the emotional things I was going through and trying to plan different scenarios, which really didn't need to be done maybe with an attorney, which has
mm.
a much higher billable rate than a coach would. And so by talking things through with somebody else, like a divorce coach, that can help you be more focused and really focus on those discussions where the legal expertise is really valuable. And so definitely you want to have a really good attorney, family law attorney who understands and experiences special needs because it is different than a divorce when you don't have that. So definitely, I'm not here to say you don't need an attorney. You want to make sure you have a good one. But as part of that, be prepared, show up professionally, show up with your information ready. Sometimes people
Mm.
are just scared of the whole process, what to expect next or how to fill out forms and what they need to be thinking about really for that child and how to advocate. And so I can share a lot of ideas and strategies regarding that. How do you share information with your attorney? What's a way to do that that maybe if that person, either whether they have experience or not with special needs, maybe your child's needs are different that they haven't really seen before.
Right.
And what do you need and what's your vision for your divorce? Because depending on how you go about it, you're the boss of your divorce. Some people think the attorney is, but really you're in charge. And so you need to set the tone for what you want that to look like and what you want conversations with the other party to look like as well.
That is such an important piece, isn't it? Because that goes back to the whole premise of our show. When you make sure that you do this work behind the scenes with a coach like Mary Ann, who has the expertise and the life experience combined, she can help you create what it is that you desire at the end of the day. And you're doing that for you, by you, because of you. And when you go in with that knowledge, I love what you just shared, something that I personally would have never contemplated. So I am so grateful that you have taken this path and really dug in, and I'm going to say I know why you're doing it because you are passionate about it. You are there for the children and the parent wanting to make sure that everything comes out as seamlessly as possible and the children get everything that their needs require based on their needs. And you cannot go wrong when you put children first, my personal opinion.
Exactly. That's exactly what I do and why I do it. I mean, my
Yeah.
passion is my kids and this whole process and helping others to help their kids. Exactly.
Yeah. And can I ask, Could you share a moment from your own journey through your own divorce that completely changed how you've approached helping other parents in the same situation or similar situation?
So one piece of advice I would share that somebody gave me was don't rush into making any
Mm,
decisions in your divorce. And so I think that's so important for people to remember that this is not a race. This is
yeah.
this is a journey. It's kind of a marathon. Not that we want to take forever, but there's no unless there's other circumstances for whatever reason.
Of
But
course.
you want to really think about it as a business decision, right? I've got a business background, I've got an MBA, and so that's how I come across my approach in my business is to look at it as a business transaction as opposed to an emotional
Mm,
experience. I mean, it is emotional, definitely for sure. Not to say I don't have feelings and it wasn't impacted greatly by that, but we have to know how to manage those emotions and turn those into something positive that's going to help us in our divorce to get the result we want. That's what we talked about the vision. What is it we want
right.
out of this divorce? I mean, granted, whether we wanted it or not, or it was our choice, or we initiated or not, it doesn't matter. The point is,
Hmm.
we're getting divorced. What are we going to do about it to make sure that we're going to be okay and our kids are going to be okay?
I love that. I love that because again, it goes back to you're doing what you need to do for you, by you, because of you. So taking that time and not rushing and running in through a motion door, that is part of the house of divorce. But you get to decide when that door has to open and when it closes. And when you're thinking the big picture, as you're speaking, Mary Ann, I'm thinking, yep, make it into a business. Then it separates it from you and your heart, and you can make probably better decisions because you're not tied up in the emotional component of it. Is that work you help people do?
For sure, for sure. So I
Yeah.
can definitely help them work through the emotion. But if they're really having a hard time and dealing with the trauma, then definitely I would recommend they seek out the support of a mental health professional. That's what their focus is. And so you can definitely work with a mental health professional to help you
Sure.
work with the past that led you to the point of divorce, right?
Right.
And my focus is like, where are we now? And how
Hmm.
can we work on what we want to get to the future goal?
Right. Right. Wonderful. Is there anything that I mean, I know there's lots we haven't touched on. Is there anything in particular you would love to share with our audience before we wrap up this incredible conversation and we make sure people know how to find you?
Sure. So I would say, with you being a coach for women in midlife, this happened to me in midlife and not
Yeah.
something that I ever saw as my future. And so as a result, I had to find myself and rediscover myself and who I am and who I
Hmm.
remember who I was and how that I can do this. And so through this whole process, I'm like a new person now. Even my son, during the divorce, right afterwards, I was starting my business. He's like, "Mommy, you're a different person than you were before divorce." And so for someone, like him to recognize that means the world to me. And
Oh,
so my message is one of hope that you can get through this. You will get through this, and there's a better life for you after this.
thank you so much, Mary Ann, for your time, your energy, your skills, knowledge. We will have in the show notes how to find you. Is there anything coming up that you would like to share with our audience that you want to make sure they keep an eye open for that you're going to be doing in the near future or anything like that?
Thanks for asking.
Sure.
So yeah, in addition to the work I do at Special Family Transitions, and my website is under that name and all my social media, so it's really easy to find me. But I also, with a colleague of mine, created a new website called Divorce for Special Needs Children. And we're going to be having a summit with all kinds of speakers and experts in special needs divorce, sharing their knowledge in January of 2026. So definitely follow me, and I'll be sharing information on that as that develops. I'm very excited about that. And so the point of that is that, like you said, we can't do this alone. We might need different help. We talked about mental health, we talked about divorce
Mhm.
coaches, but you may need a special needs financial planner. You may need
Mm.
another coach like yourself to help support you through the process. You might need good family law attorneys, estate planning attorneys, people to help with the child's education planning. All kinds of people come into play, and things that make this so complex in terms of the decisions we have to make in divorce or start thinking about. So this is a way to start learning about that. So I'm excited to be able to share more resources for people. That was the thing I had trouble with in my divorce, is finding people to help that had this knowledge. And so that's my goal with this project, is to make sure that people have that information, access to those people who have that experience and can help.
Thank you for providing that because it brings me back to years when I was in education and we talked a lot about having one point of entry so that people, as parents struggling with whatever was going on, they didn't have to go here and then go over there and try and it's like finding a needle in a haystack. But when you bring all of those expertise together, thank you for doing that, you and your friend. Yay. Thank you. We are excited. When we will absolutely put all of that information in the show notes as it comes together. Mary Ann will make sure I get whatever we need for the links so people can find it readily. We want to make this as easy as possible for our audience. So thank you again for being here, Mary Ann. It's always a pleasure to share time, space, and energy with you because you bring such a wonderful calmness to conversations that is so needed, not only today's day and age, but also with people who are struggling with the challenges of thinking about divorce, with children in the family who have special needs, whatever that may entail. So, thank you for everything you do every day. Make sure that you check the show notes because all the information will be there. Reach out to Mary Ann, follow her. She's always busy. Oh my gosh, I don't think she sleeps. I swear. I'm like looking at LinkedIn. There she is again, going to do another. She is all over this, and thank heavens for that. If this has inspired you or opened up new ways of thinking for you, please make sure that you follow, share, give a review to our podcast. That allows this information to go wider to an audience that needs to hear from Mary Ann and hear about how we can all thrive after 45. And if you have not yet seen, you can get involved in my Becoming Her Mentor membership. It is a monthly fee generated opportunity. It's not a program, it's a gathering of incredible women, and we would love to have you in that space. You can find it anywhere in any of my social media. I wish you all a wonderful day and make sure you go and do something for you, by you, because of you today. Goodbye, everyone.